Yeah! Campus USA! Yeah!
This is Car Bros Podcast, episode 64.
The big 6'4".
The big 6'4".
Like a drop top Impala.
If I feel like 64 is an important number, but I'm actually it's not.
65 is a big number though.
It's just a number that comes up a lot.
Yeah, just one more episode and then we can retire, I think, right? Officially.
Oh, yeah.
Start collecting that
Nintendo
Social Security.
64.
Yeah, it seems important, but it's not. So welcome back. Thank you for being here. We're still sheltering in place. The saga.
It's been
We're about to
extended.
come out.
Yeah.
Saga continues. In our new format, we are, and we'll probably, I don't know, we might do a little of this in the future, even if we go back to live streaming or whatever, but we are posting the content, some of the content of these podcasts on our Patreon ahead of time and letting people comment on them and throw them in there. And that brings some of the audience interaction that we're missing out on back. So if you want to get in on this hot podcast interaction, consider signing up for our Patreon. You can Google Carbros Patreon, or there's a link in the description below. Come on in. It's pretty fun to get some interaction. And I think that's all up front shit. I saw Jay Leno's Garage announced a new season.
Yeah, wasn't there like a teaser?
That we were not in.
We're not in the teaser.
They're holding their cards close to their chest.
Yeah. So presumably that's the season that we're going to be in. So
If we haven't been dropped to the cutting room floor.
Yeah,
Assuming-
they haven't just fucking scrapped the whole bit.
if we are going to be on that show, it will probably be in the next 6 months.
Yeah, I think it said May 20th is when it starts.
Oh, that's the debut. They'll probably
I believe
open
so,
with
yeah.
our segment.
Yeah.
So,
No, they were showing like the him and the Cybertruck. It's
Yeah.
like the main like sizzle reel using.
yeah, that's the sizzliest one.
Man, imagine if we had showed up like right when like Elon was leaving.
Yeah.
Cross
The
paths.
episode,
Yeah.
the episode is about futuristic cars.
Yeah.
Drug-induced design.
And kind of speaking about
Yeah.
Jay Leno, just because I think when we were there, like Ford versus Ferrari was just coming out in theaters. I remember you like even talked to him about it, and he was like, "Oh yeah, I'm really good friends with Matt." Yeah, like and we were like, "Oh yeah, this guy like fucking knows everybody." But I finally watched it last night. I bought it when I was at Target the other day and saw it for the first time. And I'm not very familiar with the whole story of the building of the Ford GT and stuff like that. So it was all new to me, but it was good. I liked it. I don't think it is as good a racing movie as that movie Rush was, just because the rivalry between Niki Lauda and was a better story in my opinion. But it was good. It was just nice. Like it was a good break from reality, because normally I've just been watching shit on Netflix or rewatching a lot of stuff. So it was just good to see something new. A good feel-good story up until the end of the movie, which I was not.
Bro, don't ruin it.
I'm not saying anything, but it brings you back to reality in a harsh way.
Okay.
I'm sure most of our audience has seen the movie already, but yeah.
Yeah, I still have not seen it. It's definitely on my list.
Like I watched that movie and I saw it in theaters and it was good, except I knew the entire story.
Right. Yeah.
So it's just how is this gonna how are they gonna portray the story that I already know?
Yeah, I don't know anything about the story.
Yeah, I feel like now I want to watch what was the Adam Carolla documentary he did about it.
Oh yeah, he has like a handful of them. They're all on Netflix.
I feel like digging
now.
into those now and just getting like a more in-depth like historical point of view rather than a Hollywood blockbuster. But
yeah, I think when we went down to LA to film, the movie had come out like that week.
Probably, or it was like gonna come out. Yeah, I can't remember.
Yeah, it was like a little bit before Thanksgiving, I think.
Yeah, and that's right. It was around Thanksgiving, and I was trying to like make conversation with Jay, and I was like, "Oh, this is like a good
Yeah.
This is like a good topic.
Just a couple of car guys.
Yeah, you excited about this movie? And he was like, oh, yeah.
Yeah, and so I was like, are you going to see Ford versus Ferrari? And he was like, I saw it 6 months ago. I saw it I saw it 6 months ago. He was like, I saw it with Matt.
Yeah.
You thought he was gonna like roll up to the AMC in his Duesenberg.
Yeah, I thought he was like, yeah, I can't wait to see it once the lines die down. Like, no, I watched it in Matt's living room.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, that's right, I'm a peasant. And I don't know how to relate to you.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, that was pretty funny. Maybe they'll put that in there.
Yeah.
They'll put my goof. Okay, so this may not age well with this podcast, but if you are listening to this in the future, right now we are in the middle of a pandemic, and it has been recommended that people wear a face covering outside.
Recently,
well, now
pretty recently.
Now, at least where Garrett and I live, now it's mandatory. They said that starting like next week, it's mandatory if you're out in public, be wearing a mask.
Okay, so that's fine. You know, it's like, sure, wear a mask in public, and that's already something that's kind of common in other parts of the world when you're sick or worried about it.
Or you're like face to face with someone on a train or something.
Yeah, you're like
touching bod.
You're like smushed up against each other in a busy like 5 o'clock subway commute. But people here don't have experience with it, apparently.
They're wearing it like jogging in the park.
Yeah, I'm not trying to put anyone down with this, but like, is there a weaker look than being alone in your car with the windows up, wearing a mask? Like, is there like a sadder?
Got to make sure your AC vents are closed.
You're like recirculating the air in your like bubble car, and you still have a mask on.
You never know, bro.
Well, you never know. It's like I see these people driving past, like windows up, still with the mask.
The only defense I can give them is that they're just too lazy to take it on and off each time they get
It's
out.
gotta be. Maybe it's like
the only
like a fitted.
I think the only acceptable thing is if you're like a delivery driver or something. So you're constantly getting in and out of your car, like
you're in and out of your car.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, these are people just like sitting at a stoplight in my like SUV, in my Prius.
Wearing my mask.
Yeah, there's people around here because I live in a pretty like bike heavy town, and people bike with masks on. It's just like it's crazy to me. They're around nobody, but I don't know. I mean, I guess you play that how you you play that how you choose. But yeah, the car mask look is oof. I don't know about that one. Okay. Sorry for anyone who I've offended.
Car Bros listeners are known for wearing masks in cars by themselves.
Yeah. Okay, so one other thing that this has been on the list for a while, but is this from Craigslist? This is a Craigslist gem.
We found it quite a while ago, but
it's from a while ago, but I would call it.
So it's probably not for sale anymore. If you're
I would call it a timeless experience. Here it is. This is it in its entirety. And if you're audio only, it's an S-Class Mercedes
06.
So like a pretty attractive body style, but it's like it's a big Benz, and it is just fucking slammed.
Sitting on that ground.
Slammed. It is sitting on bump stops.
It's laying frame.
It is this thing is laying on the ground, and it looks pretty sick. I mean,
it's a good look.
There's no getting around.
It's not a bad. First of all, we need to address it looks pretty good. I don't mind it. But then he mentions that it needs air suspension work. And so we may have
found the root of the problem. Yeah.
And the fact that it's parked in essentially a dirt yard.
Yeah.
And it's $1,600.
$1,600. Oh man. That thing like rolled off the assembly line in Dusseldorf or whatever.
That thing's like cheap enough where you just like buy it and like change the wheels and just leave it like in your that guy's fucking balling. And your kids never drive it.
I'd drive it like that. That thing doesn't need air suspension work.
Yeah.
Get the fuck out of here. That thing looks sick.
I'd say the work is already done.
Yeah, I think he did the work by letting all four shocks essentially collapse on themselves. But yeah, it runs good. I don't know.
Yeah.
You could just blast that thing into speed bumps and shit. Who cares? $1,600? You can't even find a clean Civic for $1,600.
I bet you could have got it for $1,200.
I know. I was gonna say if it's still for sale, you could just use your Trump bucks and just take it off his hands.
Yeah, that's a cool G waiting to happen. Roll up in that thing. I mean, is there a more exciting purchase?
Actually, I'm gonna double check and see if that thing is
still there.
Yeah, I have a feeling it's not.
Is it like, would there be, remember how we always joke about like, you tell your friends you bought a new car and then you like show up and it's a Chevy Sonic or something. And
Yeah,
disappointed.
Yeah.
This is probably the most exciting, like, I just bought a new car and you roll up thing.
No, I don't.
You scrape up.
No, it's not there. There's a nice example for $4,000, but it's not that one.
God, these cars are cheap. Yeah.
Damn.
Pretty wild. Anyways,
This one, it's salvage title though.
sorry, folks. we were too late on this one.
Another lucky buyer.
Yeah, somebody else got it.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I wanted to talk about high octane gas. Because have you ever used it in your cars?
Just at the track. Like when we went to that,
like
when we went to that track day,
yeah.
I had like a half a tank of 91, and I probably put in, I filled it up with whatever's at the track. I can't remember, like 101.
Yeah, it's like 100 unleaded or something.
They have a few different ones. It's like 91 is their like regular.
Right.
Did you notice a difference, John?
I think I did, but like I drive the Subaru so infrequently that it's hard to tell. Like, and especially because like I'm driving it at a track when you're just going balls to the wall. Yeah.
The few times, well, first of all, it's super rare. I mean, in California, 91 is the premium option, and some places have 100 at the pump.
I don't even know if I've ever seen that.
Yeah, it's like there's one pump in Sacramento, and I think there's some in the Bay Area. It's very rare. It's like one every like 300 stations. Yeah, it's exceptionally rare.
Well, a couple of our patrons wrote in about this, and Flemingson is one of them.
Fleming?
And he's the only one I think that lives in California, but he says, "Sup, bros. Race gas seems to be quite common around where I live, Southern California. A surprising amount of gas stations sell Sunoco 100 octane, even if they're a Chevron 76, etc."
Yeah, so the one place that I know of that's up here is like a Chevron or something. Like they clear the owner, or I don't know how it works, but they clearly just decide to carry that, and it's one pump, and it's $10 a gallon. So it's like. It's wild. It's crazy expensive.
Didn't there used to be places that would sell it like in like a can?
You can still buy it. You can buy 5-gallon cans of it.
Right.
And you have to
go to like the speed shop.
Yeah. And you have to like dump 5, funnel and whatever. It's just annoying because the thing that I was thinking about is like probably any performance car in the last, 20 years is going to be able to take advantage of up to like 95 octane or something. Like it's not a mind-blowing difference, but the few times I've run it in the M5, it's like the throttle response is way different. It's way snappier.
It's like you can tell,
but it's not worth driving 30 miles out of my way.
Yeah. And then it's paying like 3 times the amount of, per gallon.
Paying 3x and then commuting back on my expensive gas, just like cruising on the freeway, burning through it. So I feel like if it was around, I would probably do it pretty often. I think if it was, even if they just had 95 at the pump, and it was like $6, I think I would do that quite a bit.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's kind of a shame. It's too bad. It's too bad it's not around there, because putting 91 in a car that is like brand new and performance oriented, it's like, that sucks.
Well, it's weird because when I first got the STI in 2007, like I was reading through the manual, and in the manual it says 93 octane is recommended, but it will. They're like it will run on 91 because obviously they know that California is an outlier. But it's weird like that.
Yeah, they're almost all tuned for 93. Yeah. And then they can take advantage of a little more because you're just like modifying timing essentially.
Well, like a lot of like new cars, like they even have like separate horsepower ratings.
Oh yeah,
it's like the whatever. If you put 91, it's 350 horsepower, and then it's like 325 on 87 or whatever.
Yeah, they let you run all the way down to
Yeah, they just cut timing. I guess.
85. Yeah, I don't know. It's just too bad. It's too bad. It's essentially $10 a gallon, and so it is way outside of your just like, oh, I'm gonna like treat myself,
right?
Amount of money. Yeah, it's a little
like you're going to get some froyo.
Yeah, it's not like froyo. It's like a big investment just to have like slightly better throttle response. So I don't know. It's too bad.
Yeah,
it's too bad.
Yeah, a couple of our other patrons, like Carl Bernstein.
What's up, Carl?
He wrote in and he says, "Greetings from a state with good gasoline." He's like, 93 octane is available everywhere here. I forgot where he lives, like what state he's in, but
I thought it was Pennsylvania.
Maybe. Yeah, maybe it's somewhere northeast,
Massachusetts or something.
Yeah, and then he says trackside you can buy 100 and 110 via VIP fuels.
Damn. Yeah, even 93 I would be down with.
Yeah.
I don't know what the story is. Someone either like look it up or chime in with the or like Lena.
Yeah.
With the like, what's the story with California?
I don't know.
And 93.
Christina Myers also wrote in, and she
says,
Christina? I only ever see high octane gas in the most obscure locations. Why is a gas station in rural South Carolina that's nowhere near any kind of racetrack selling high octane gas? I don't get it.
Yeah.
I know the place. Random. I don't know if they still do, but the place around here that sold it was like, like out in like the industrial like boonies.
Yeah. It'll just be like an oil company or something.
Yeah. Yeah. It's like next to a truck stop somewhere.
Yeah. I mean, you do use the like high performance, high octane gas, specifically if there's no ethanol in it. That is really good for like generators or, ATVs or anything like that, where you just want like performance without any like additive shit that's going to gum up a carburetor or some, especially small, especially some you don't drive often and like gas just sits in it. So that could have something to do with why they have random stuff.
They're not like downtown.
Right.
Yeah. I was just thinking about that the other day because I've got friends who have like very high performance cars. I was like, damn, that's such a shame. You're missing out on it. I mean, it's legitimately like a 5% power increase from doing nothing, from doing no work.
What's crazy is like every vehicle I've owned has required 91 gas or better. And that's all I've ever known. So when like people always complain like, oh, you pay an extra like 30 cents a gallon for gas. And I'm like, whatever. It's like,
Yeah, I'm pretty sure the 4Runner would run on like used oil.
Yeah.
You could just cycle the oil back in. Okay.
Well, I was going to continue. A popular mod, at least for turbo cars in general now, is like the E85 like flex fuel kits.
Oh yeah. Because
you can get like crazy high horsepower numbers on E85 apparently.
I don't actually know a ton about that.
Yeah.
But I'm going to comment on it anyways. I think
with authority.
Yeah. Here's the final verdict on ethanol. I think you can get a higher octane rating using ethanol, but it requires more physical fuel. I want to say it's something like that, and so you need like way higher flow rates.
Yeah.
But it's more resistant to detonation or something like that. Maybe that's what it is. Maybe people have just gone the ethanol route, and like high octane unleaded fuel has fallen out of favor.
At least in California, because there's a couple pumps around here that have E85.
Dang, that's what it is. I'm just out of the loop on how to be cool.
AKA
well, I don't know. I mean, it's mostly turbo cars that take advantage of it the most, I would assume, but I don't know.
Maybe that's where you can just get. I mean, I don't think on a.
Yeah, I know our friend John that has like a tuned Golf R gets E85 a lot.
Yeah, because in a turbo car, I mean, any of these cases, you're just trying to push the limits of resisting detonation.
Yeah.
And so there's only so much you can advance the timing on a naturally aspirated car. There's not like
unlock some extra power.
Yeah, it's like you just at some point the valve's gonna hit the piston or whatever. or the spark will be like into the intake manifold. But on a turbo car, you can just keep raising the boost. And it'll just keep getting hotter, and if you can just keep resisting detonation, you can just keep making more power. So I think that's why it's so popular there, because you essentially have everything you need to make a shit ton of power. It's just a software rewrite,
right,
to make it build more boost. Dive deeper into that high octane power territory.
Yeah.
All right. Here's a weird one. The Lexus LFA.
Damn.
Mm-hmm.
Damn.
Remember the LFA?
Well, we started talking about the LFA because we were talking about the NSX that never was.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah. That was theoretically in development at the same time as the LFA.
Yeah. In the like mid 2000s, basically, there was like kind of a resurgence of development on supercars, I guess. And so you had the NSX remake, which I guess it makes sense. The NSX went out of production in what, 05 or something?
Yeah.
And so they started working apparently on a replacement for it.
In like 07, 08-ish?
Yeah, it was like somewhere around it was right around the time where the economy was essentially crumbling.
Yeah.
And so they never released it. What was that thing called?
They had a concept. What year was that? Let's see. I think it was 07.
I think it's called the HSV or something. Is that?
Oh yeah, that's what the race version was. It was the 07. There was the Acura Advanced Sports Car concept.
Here's an image of that.
Yeah, so like I think that's kind of where they started, and supposedly it was going to be a V10, naturally aspirated, and then whatever, a year and a half later, the bottom fell out of the economy, and they like canceled the production car and ended up using like the shell of it for a Super GT race car in Japan.
Yeah, so whatever they had developed, they just kind of like ported into this car that no one basically knows about.
Mm-hmm.
But the car, here's the HSV, the Super GT car. It looks, the bones of it look dope. You can tell like if it had been finished, it would have been this like awesome
fucking VTEC V10
killer, like amazing car, maybe, hopefully. But it was just this thing that never was. And around that same time is when the LFA came out. So Toyota, for whatever reason, chose to continue with the LFA, and Honda dropped the NSX based on us guessing and looking at Wikipedia. And so the LFA exists, but it's like, it's not, for whatever reason, it's not that popular of a car. It's not something that's like talked about a ton or lusted after, really.
It's like a nerd's supercar.
Yeah, and so it's the first F. I think it introduced the like F kind of marquee
No, I think the ISF was before that. I think
they were about the same time. I think
the ISF was like 07, I want to say.
Oh yeah, you're right. It was like 08 or something.
Yeah.
So it's the first. It's essentially the first like pure.
Although I mean they're probably in development at the same time.
Yeah,
I would think.
It was the halo of the F line.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I don't know. I don't know what it is. It's hard to place that car because it is a front engine. I mean, it's whatever mid-engine, but the engine's in front of the driver, which immediately just kind of it makes the design just sort of feel not pedestrian, but
yeah, it's more like a Ferrari, whatever California than a 458.
Yeah, it doesn't really sit alongside like an uncompromised sports car, supercar design.
Mm-hmm.
But it costs $500,000 or something. This thing was like $400,000 or $500,000. And so it's not like Toyota and Lexus being like, this is high value. You're getting high value in our cars. And then to release a $400,000 or $500,000 car that is in some ways, you know, doesn't really compare to the like $250,000, $300,000 Ferraris that it is supposedly competing with. It's kind of a weird, it's just a weird sell. And I don't
9,000 RPM V10.
Yeah, I don't think they probably struggled to sell all of them. I think there's probably still some unsold ones that are just like sitting in showroom floors kind of thing. So it's a weird car. It was well received, but not. I don't think it's really like sitting on anyone's wall, poster wise.
And it's not that fast. Like it's fast, but it's not like oh fuck
yeah.
It's like as fast as like a C8 Corvette.
Yeah, it's like it's not shocking why it didn't have the splash that it maybe could deserve. You could argue it deserves. But the more you talk about it, like if you're into cars, it's like that car is amazing. It's awesome.
Yeah.
It's dope. It's like it's such a like sleeper.
It ticks all the boxes.
It ticks all the boxes. They went to insane lengths to make this thing. I mean, I think they repurposed a factory, I want to say, to make this. There's a ton of carbon work, which they had never done before. It's a bespoke V10 engine, which sounds nuts. Yeah. And it's literally one of the best sounding.
550 horsepower.
Yeah, so 500. I mean, it's exotic, and it's made by Toyota.
Apparently the transmission's in the back. I didn't know that.
Yeah, it's a transverse kind of rear. It's basically a vet. And so this car is awesome. There's only 500 of them in the world. It's crazy rare, but for whatever reason, they are not very popular among people who have that kind of money.
They're like elite.
Yeah, they don't really do much street cred wise for that group. But they feel to me, it has all the ingredients to become something that is later very valuable.
Yeah.
Because I think the group of people who are crazy about them don't necessarily have the money for them yet.
And they're not going to make a fucking 550 horsepower NA V10 again anytime soon.
Yeah.
There's nothing like that coming. But I foresee those becoming something where if you own one, it just exudes kind of enthusiast cred.
Yeah.
To people who know. So I don't know. I can see that thing 20 years and beyond just being
pick it up, folks.
Yeah. So folks,
on that note, Chris Coyne wrote in from Patreon and
he says,
Chris? Might pick up a Lexus LFA when they bottom out.
Yeah.
Like, I wonder.
Us too.
Yeah. He was like, I wonder if that project
to like 460K, 475K.
He continues, he says, I wonder if that project was successful in Lexus's mind. They did make an incredible car and got a lot of marketing, but it doesn't seem to be iconic like a Ferrari F4 or a McLaren F1 or something like that. Maybe the body just wasn't immediately recognizable enough, or because it was front engine and didn't seem as special.
Yeah, I think this one's just a slow build.
Yeah.
I don't think it has come and gone.
Well, it's kind of like the Toyota 2000 GT that like they made in the 60s.
Yeah.
Which was like sort of cool at the time, but like it didn't blow up until like quite a bit later.
Yeah, it was kind of competing with Ferraris. You know, it's like in that same vein. Yeah, this has all the markings of something that's gonna blow up. The thing is about these, and I think this is why Honda canceled the NSX, is that companies lose for every one of these things they sell. They lose so much money because they artificially limit well, in this case they didn't, but they limit it to so few cars, and so even at $500,000 they only sold, what did I say, 500?
Yeah, I think they built 500. I don't know.
I think weren't they losing money at that price too? Like they weren't even getting a profit.
Well, that's what I mean. What do you think the development of this thing costs? It has to be minimum. I mean, it's got to be in the billions to make a brand new motor, to
retool a factory,
to make a car out of carbon fiber. You know, the workforce, they had to be using like their most elite workforce on this. They're Japanese. They're not going to fuck around with this thing. Like, are you kidding? They probably only picked people who had been working there for like 50 years.
Yeah, it's not like they're like, oh, let's find a motor from the tundra.
Yeah, like they must have gone nuts on this thing. I wouldn't be shocked if it was. I would be actually surprised if it was less than $2 billion to develop this car. And they sold it for $500,000, and they sold 500 of them. So every one of these things they sell, they're just bleeding money. The project is a loss. It's a huge loss. And so they do it because the marketing, you know, you make it up in other ways. It gives the brand a bunch of, you know, a boost in the image and whatever.
You know, they had that commercial where it like shatters a like champagne glass.
Yeah, that commercial. Yeah, it was dope. But it's like these cars aren't made for profit. They're made for other reasons. And so when you're staring down the barrel of a recession, you know, it's like that's pretty rough. That's a pretty rough sell. But hats off to them for still doing it.
We were actually talking about like, well, I guess we still don't know like how long the like economic downturn from this virus shit is going to last. But like we were like hoping that like this doesn't kill off any cool cars that are currently, you know, like the second gen of the, you know, Toyota 86, which like they're supposedly working on. Because like, I don't know if we could really, if we want to go, you know, develop a sports car right now.
Yeah, this car that sells like 1,500 units a month or something.
Yeah, that's what I'm kind of worried about. But hopefully this will be a short-term thing. But
yeah, they like canceled the C8.
Seriously, they produced like 2,000 of them, and they just stopped. Corvettes are not made anymore.
Yeah, they just pull it back. Yeah, so I don't know. Every LFA I've seen in person, they are really something special. It does not. If you didn't know about cars, you would not believe it's $500,000. It doesn't really have that feel to it.
Weren't you guys joking that like probably like ordinary people that see an LFA think it's just an SC500?
Yeah, it has some very SC500 vibes.
Right, but like they would think that those two cars were like in the same class and not completely different tiers. Yeah.
To answer, who was it who was asking what's the most expensive?
That was like an episode or two ago.
What's the cheapest looking expensive car? It's probably this one. Well, I don't know. 918's still up there, but
yeah.
You see an LFA in person. If you know what you're looking at, you're like, okay, this thing's clearly special. But it's got the proportions of just kind of a normal car, I guess, because the engine's in the front. But yeah, I'm a big fan. I think we all are.
Yeah.
It's really something special. It's going to be a slow build.
It would be sweet if, like, you know, those like tracks in Vegas and stuff where you can rent, you know, Ferraris and Porsches to drive around. Like that'd be so sweet if they had an LFA to offer.
Yeah, I
mean, it's not going to happen, but I think it's so sweet if they did.
Yeah, I think so. I also suspect it's not even that incredible to drive.
But just to hear the motor would be like,
the sound of that thing is like nothing else. It's so cool they put a V10 in it. Honestly, I wouldn't be shocked if Honda lost money on the original NSX. I actually wouldn't be surprised if that whole program never made a profit. They sold that thing for a while, but they really didn't sell that many of them.
Yeah, I don't know if you can look. I don't know if they like have numbers for all that stuff where you can actually find out. But
I mean, you can find. All you have to do is look up like production numbers,
right, and divide it by
and multiply it by sales price, which is like 70 grand in that case. And then you have to ask yourself, okay, could they,
could they have built
for the $300 million in revenue this thing generated, could they have designed and built this aluminum
and sourced the product,
it's
the
like
materials,
space age car? I was like, I don't know. I kind of doubt it. Maybe that's why they kept building that thing for so long. I think because it's like there might be a certain point where
where it's like the opposite is you make the most money off something like the Mustang.
Right.
Where you can have like super expensive versions and super cheap versions all based on the same like bones.
Yeah, you're paying for one with the other. Yeah. Anyways, LFA, hot shit. Maybe we should just maybe we should crowdsource one and just have it in storage. It'll just be like a millennial investment fund. Buy one share of an LFA. Okay. Where did this commercial come from? Moving on.
I just saw it on Instagram. I think this was a while. Like it just like popped up. Like some guy like reposted it. And I was like, holy shit, this is fucking sweet.
All right. So here is a Ford van commercial from what, 80s? No.
No, this is like I think it's 1976.
76. Golden age. We're just going to play it first so you can take it in before we dissect it.
Hey, remember this? It's a 61 Ford Econoline, the original modern-day van. And here's a new original, the 76 Econoline. It's changing van history again. Check it out. It's the only van with a strong separate frame. And they move the engine forward 18 inches for more freedom to move around than in any other van. And no matter how you trick up your Ford, there's lots of room for bags and boats and beauties.
Us?
No, these beauties! See the new Econoline at your California Ford dealer.
Fuck, these are sweet.
Okay, so hold on.
Volume 1.
Yeah, this just reminded me that like vans were a thing.
Yeah, the whole van culture was like a huge
thing. For some of us, they still are.
For some, they still, the embers.
Yeah, the passion never died. Yeah,
are still smoldering. They've been peed on by society, but some strong, brave individuals are still vanning. As ultimate hipster. So long before there was like camper shells on your pickup truck, which I think is like the new version of this. Vanning, which was what, I guess in the 60s, is that when that started?
I think it's mostly 70s. It was like when it started getting like cool. I mean, they made van before that, but
I mean, it's basically the original, like
a van as a lifestyle piece.
Yeah, just like it's 70s. Part of your. Yeah. I mean, they're dope. They're just like, here's my like mobile.
Apartment.
Yeah, I mean, I think the unspoken reality of those is like, here's my mobile like drug and sex room. like what else are you putting? Shag carpet,
dirt bikes,
and like cheetah seat covers and stuff.
Black lights,
Yeah, black lights and like stereo and stuff. There's nothing wholesome.
A wet bar.
Nothing. No van in the 60s was ever purchased for wholesome reasons. That was just the thin veil of like, oh, we're gonna be like camping.
Yeah, like if you need to haul your family, you would just buy a station wagon.
Yeah,
a van was more for a bachelor.
Yeah, they were like, well, you could have any sort of adventure, not necessarily just unprotected sex and illicit drug use in a the parking lot of a Burger King. It's like it could be for any number of things. It was like, no, it was just.
I also think it's funny that this isn't even like a custom van. Like, this is just a Ford commercial, just like showing how cool their van can be.
Yeah,
this is like official. It's a blank slate for all the adventures you could maybe possibly have, up to and including things that unspeakable acts. Anyways, commercials.
Beauty.
Commercials.
These beauty.
It brings me back to a time that I was not alive for. And it was probably not that fun to live through in a lot of ways, but all the best parts have been encapsulated in that commercial. Yeah. I like how he's like, it's got room for all your activities, like a sleeping bag and a boat. Yeah, I'm sure. I'm sure that's what that was used for. You want to come back to my van? Anyways, okay. So apparently there are actually 2 commercials. I didn't realize. So why don't we just sample the second one? If you thought the first one was good, let's watch them. Let's watch them lean even harder to into the vanning fantasy. All right, here it is.
This is Merton Grundy. He was only small change at the bank, but recently he started to change his image. He got the newest design in vans, a Ford Econoline, which he did his own thing with. A wild and woolly paint job, and he customized Ford's spacious front room especially for his special friends. Get a Ford and do your own thing.
At your local Ford dealer, he has what California drives.
Jesus. Can we just bring up some still frames of this van?
I think we found the thumbnail for this video.
Yeah.
Super
pretty
low
much.
res. Yeah.
Yeah, I like how in
real
this
fucking square until he got into his van.
Yeah, this guy was dorky as hell until
small
he
change at the bank, bro.
Ford van shown with possible customizing ideas. Like the disclaimer, it does not come like this.
You have to do that yourself.
Yeah.
You have to ruin it. You have to ruin it yourself.
It has double fucking teardrop back windows.
Yeah, I like that like weird spoiler thing too. It's like a legitimate like early like bat scorcher like
God, fucking interior though.
Spoiler.
Jesus.
I know.
Yeah,
full shag carpet interior.
Is that a TV? Is that a TV set?
Yeah, let's take a closer look at that interior. It's like, is that like a ham radio?
I think it's a TV.
Is it a TV?
I don't know. I don't know what I don't know what that like thing hanging above it is. That like a chandelier?
I mean, if they hadn't given him just miraculously this attractive. They don't really explain who she is.
Yeah.
She just immediately willingly wants to get into his van. So
flamed out.
she's somewhat on board for whatever reason, whether she is financially incentivized by him or it is because of her true feelings. But if they had not included this woman, this commercial would just be creepy as fuck.
Yeah.
It would be like, if it's just him turning around.
Mm-hmm.
If you're listening audio only, we didn't really describe it. They're like, yeah, he's got all this room in his van. And it's like, this thing is, other than the radio or piece of electronics, which we can't figure out, this entire van is shag.
Yes. It has like a bench, like two benches. Looks like
a little sink, maybe.
Yeah.
Floor to ceiling is carpet. All surfaces are carpet. And so it's just like, this is just a drug dungeon. This is just like an opium den.
It's amazing.
On wheels. But I feel like if they hadn't given him that female,
he really does have like an early fucking like aluminum fucking wing on the top.
Yeah, you see that thing?
He does.
Yeah. So I don't know. I mean, I think that these probably fell out of favor because the reality of, okay, every dude who's got a van is at some point going to try to lure you into the van.
It's inevitable.
Like, you don't own a customized van unless you try to get people to come back to the van with you.
Yeah.
And so that probably killed vanning because people are just like you can't.
I also
just
like that he
enjoy
comes out. He comes out in his suit and then like gets in and like comes out like Superman.
Yeah.
Fucking like colored like party shirt.
Yeah, he's ready to party. It could be any number of party activities. Certainly not just unprotected sex and illicit drugs. Any number of things in his shag covered all surface. Just a van of activities. I'm guessing that's what killed it. Is you're just like, you're pretty quickly you're like, oh, he's someone who does any number of things. So like, oh, you have a van? Like, all right. Oh, shocker! You want to go have drinks in your van?
Watch the sunset.
You want to watch the, yeah. Well, it takes us back to a time before owning a van with full shag treatment was not creepy. For that decade window.
Yeah.
Yeah. When it really said something about you. Said you were going places.
Yeah, pretty badass. Anyways, pick one up. Pick one up. Let's throw the links to those commercials in the description.
Yeah, you do not want to miss this commercial, folks.
Yeah. All right. Anyways.
So moving on to Patreon questions, we only have one submitted question this week, and it's from Ganoch. If you remember, this is the guy Gonench. Yeah, he was the guy stuck in the hotel room a couple weeks back. Because
hopefully he got out.
Yeah, hopefully he's in a better spot now. But
sup, Gonench?
So he says, "What's up with all the cars that are specific to the UK market, like the old Ford Escorts and Cortinas and stuff? British seem to have a cultish love for them, but to me they look weak as hell. They're like, oh, that's the special edition Mark II Escort with 70 horsepower instead of 68. Cheeky little bugger here, mate. Dave had one. It's bonkers fast."
I wonder if he meant to do the accent. Like,
I'm sure. I'm reading it how I interpret it.
This is word for word.
Yeah. But yeah, I think we've touched on this in the past.
Properly mental.
Oh. Well, see, Hot Hat, I mean, I agree with him in some ways. He's definitely, we definitely share that view about the, like, Renault Twingo,
yeah,
like, sport.
The Clio Sport or something, yeah.
Yeah, when it's like, oh, mental, but some, oh, this is a proper. Some
Pick
of
up
them,
your best bloke and go down the B road.
Yeah, this is just two shepherd's pies short of a Boxing Day. I should do some research.
Yeah,
about actual
British slang.
Yeah, it's like a good Victoria crumb cake and a strong cup of breakfast
like
tea,
honey on top of your Weetabix.
Yeah, it's like this is like a crisp. Like a brand new bag of Weetabix and a coal miner's breakfast. Classic can of beans with some haggis. It's or whatever. I don't even know what they eat. It's baked beans.
Chips with that.
It's baked beans shoved into a
hot set of crisps or something.
It's on the S2.
It's sausage, but instead of traditional sausage fillings, it's pure goat anus it's only the heart of the cow. We just eat pure. It's just the blood. We let the blood sit out in the sun, and then we spread it on some Weetabix.
Yeah.
No, it's just. Oh fuck. Anyways.
Well, anyway.
Some of their cars are decent, right?
But most of them are pretty lackluster.
Most of them, I agree with him, but some of them, specifically he mentioned the Escort, and I don't know a ton about he's talking. I think. Well, I don't know if he means to talk about it, but the Ford Escort, what, Cosworth? Is that like the cool one?
No, he's talking about the like 70's one.
Oh, is he?
The one that came before that. Yeah, Mark II is like the kind of like squarish looking.
Oh, then maybe that is what I'm thinking of. Okay. Anyways, some of them are cool. I think they're as cool as like something that's like 90s Honda here, where like it's not that cool, but it's type of. Yeah, like by today's standards, you probably wouldn't be able to impress anyone unless you specifically pointed out why it's such a big deal. And it is a cool car, but it's like with an asterisk. And it comes with like, you gotta like give a PowerPoint presentation about why it's cool. But it is cool. Once you understand, it is cool. So they seem to have some stuff like that. But yeah, I certainly agree with him that they're more often than not, when they try to talk about how cool something was, even given the context, it's still pretty lame. And it's just like not worth celebrating, but they still do.
Yeah, that's the thing. I mean, a lot of it has to do with like I feel like the setting can also affect a car a lot. Like that car is like I picture those being cool on like some quaint little road.
Yeah,
but not like fucking like interstate, like fucking like Peterbilts and stuff like blowing by you.
Yeah. So fair enough. We agree. They are. A lot of them are weak. There's probably, like, I feel safe saying there's probably at least 3 that aren't bad. And then, handful of other ones that certainly are. So, yeah, agreed. Agreed there. Okay, so I wanted to end. I think we've run out of fast food topics. But
no, I don't know. Well, I don't know. We had a pretty colorful conversation about Five Guys.
Didn't we talk about that before? Five Guys versus In-N-Out. I feel like that's come up previously. Yeah, and I think because I feel like there were comments and people were like, "No, Five Guys is way better." That one's been beat. That one's been. That horse.
I would just say, in my opinion now, is given the circumstances of you cannot go in, like In-N-Out is drive-through only. I think I prefer Five Guys now because Garrett and I have both driven by In-N-Out, and the drive-through line is like 50 to 60 cars deep.
Yeah.
It's like
okay. Here's
spilling out into the freaking like major street, like it's spilling out of the parking lot into the road.
It's like blocking traffic.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, and
the virus has changed some things for fast food. Yeah. So that part is fair enough. And so can I also just, go ahead.
I was just going to say, so it's 50 to 60 cars deep. Like let's just say that it's moving at 1 car per minute, which is pretty fast, even for In-N-Out. That's like, you're still sitting in the drive-through line for an hour, like up to an hour to get your goddamn food.
I wonder if it is a car a minute. In-N-Out's pretty fast, man. I wouldn't be surprised.
It might be like 40 seconds, maybe.
You think so?
Either way, you're waiting a big chunk of time to get a fucking burger and some terrible fries, in my opinion. I know you like them, but
love their fries.
I know, but so like, whereas Five Guys, on the other hand, they have an online ordering feature and they do curbside pickup. You can go through the drive-through, or you can even like walk inside and order at the counter, or you can do curbside pickup. And so literally, I was from my couch, I ordered it on my phone, drove to In-N-Out, and 8 minutes later, I have the burger in my goddamn hand, and it
drove to Five Guys.
Five Guys, yeah. Sorry.
Yeah, is that just because they're less popular though? Are there just less people?
I think twice as expensive.
Yeah, I mean, In-N-Out is like the Dutch Bros. You know, it's like Starbucks compared to Dutch Bros. Like anytime you go to Dutch Bros, the drive-through line's fucking
crazy.
You know, 10 to 20 cars deep, but you can walk into pretty much any Starbucks and, you know, order your coffee and get it in 5 minutes. So,
well, I will probably not go to either. Yeah, mostly just because I'm afraid of getting the virus in the drive-through line.
Yes,
in my car.
That's why you need to wear your mask.
Yeah. Okay, what I wanted to end on, this is a very obscure thing, but I think people will agree with me. Something that really bothers me is just this like general phrase that, or like mindset that certain people
found on the internet.
It's on the internet, sure. I think it happens in real life too, and it takes a certain type of person where they will the phrase that will tip you off is when they say like, you name it and I've done it. and then they'll talk about things they've done, and it's only like 3 things maybe, you know, and like their examples are all kind of related. Like, you name it, I've done it. I've done plumbing, electrical work, put out fires related to electrical work. You know, it's like, you name it, I've done it. And like, here did it, and they'll back up their argument with that. It's like, I'm a knowledgeable guy, but they'll open it with like, you name it, I've done it. It's like, no, how can you have done anything? No, you haven't. The other place this shows up was when people say like, you name it, I've owned it, like with cars. And they're like, I've owned them all. Mustangs,
Corvette,
yeah, Firebirds, Vet, C4.
That's about it. Yep.
It was like a Jetta. It was like, that's not, you name it. That's this loose grouping of $3,000 to $7,000 cars that you've gone through in like the last 5 or 10 years. So I don't know why that has always just bothered me whenever somebody like borders on that, like, I've done it, you're not going to teach me a new.
I kind of feel like no matter what they're talking about, like that always kind of like puts me off when anyone's like, just there's people that have that certain personality where it's like, oh yeah, I've done it all. Like,
I'm already
I have a lot of life experience, and like, yeah, I can tell you a thing or two.
Yeah. No matter what your age, or
when they're like going out of their way to like present that to you, like there's probably something.
Well, here's the thing. First of all, you need to tone down the disrespect. Because while you're sitting behind your keyboard, I've done it all. I've done landscaping, auto repair. You name it. I've gone fishing. It's just like,
I did 1 year in the Army Reserve.
Yeah, I've
volunteer police officer.
I was a volunteer firefighter. Like, all right, those are all the professions.
Yeah,
you've done them all. So
yeah, I used to work with a guy, and he just kind of came off as like the big know-it-all, and kind of the same situation where like I would be having a conversation with somebody completely different, but he's like eavesdropping on the conversation. And so depending on, no matter what topic we're talking about, he always just comes in and just like has a story about that same topic. He just like interjects, and he's just like, oh yeah, I'm going to get in on this and tell you about my life situation. Yeah, exactly.
These gentlemen can't wait to hear my life experience. It's like, oh no, here comes Reginald. Are you guys talking about drywall? Oh, fuck. Because you know I've done drywall before. All right. Anyways. Okay.
There you go.
Well, there it is, folks. You name it. We've talked about it on this podcast.
Yep.
Episode 64. What can we say?
You know, it's all available to us. Okay. So As you can see, the bar for what we're willing to talk about is pretty low on here.
We will talk about anything.
Yeah. So if you wanna throw your 2 cents in here for what a worthy topic is, go ahead and jump on our Patreon. We are accepting comments for the future podcasts as well as any number of other things that we do behind closed doors on Patreon. It's a good old time. Thank you for all of you who are patrons. Thanks for all of you who are enjoying this podcast. Hope you guys are staying somewhat safe and wearing your masks or not. You know.
Maybe you're living life on the edge.
Yeah. Sometimes.
Maybe you're going for a bike ride without wearing a mask.
I'm not going to tell you how to live your life.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I hope you're getting what you want out of this life. Hope you guys enjoyed, and we will probably be back in another 2 weeks. I think we're going to try to keep this pace up to keep you entertained. So thank you guys for being here, and we will see you next time.
See ya.
Bye-bye.